Hello, friends. Today we have new voice of Cosmos voice, and today our guest, Abstrct. He is founder and tech lead of a really interesting game based on Cosmos-SDK that's called Structs. And I was play a lot in this game, and I want to tell this is very interesting game but it means it's also hard game because everything that is interesting is hard. That's why when we play the game on the easy, it stopped to be interesting. We tell, okay, make difficult hard or became much more interesting. And sometimes can be the border for the new players when they don't understand what to do since the beginning. So on this video, I really hope that we will show the best way to start to play Structs. And let's start from several words about yourself. Abstrct, can you tell us several words about yourself, several words about how you come to the Cosmos ecosystem and why you build something on Cosmos SDK, not any other network?
Of course. So I've been in the space making games out of blockchain random tech for a number of years. Started back in 2014, believe it or not, with a game called CoinDroids. And that was built on top of like Bitcoin, Litecoin, kind of your classic original blockchain game. But honestly, it wasn't that good. And it had a lot of difficulties with user experience, a lot of difficulties with creating an economy that made sense. People didn't necessarily want to play a game with their Bitcoin because they rather hold their Bitcoin. Like if I had to make a choice between gambling my Bitcoin basically and just holding it, it was far easier just to hold it. Similarly, someone comes to the website, it's like, hey, I want to play this game. We're like, do you have any like Bitcoin or Litecoin? No, go away. Why are you here? It was a very poor onboarding experience. But we still had fun with it. It was an interesting game. The 5 or 10 or 100 people that liked it did enjoy it, but it wasn't destined to be something big. It was more proving that games could become, or games could use this technology instead of being a game that was better because of this technology. Fast forward over the years, we tried everything. Ethereum was coming out. We tried to build games on Ethereum. It didn't make sense though, because you had to spend so much on gas that your own economy didn't make any sense because it was so focused on funneling funds into the Ethereum network, which is fine, but wasn't what we were looking for. Similarly, onboarding was still hard. Do you have any Ethereum? No, go away. Like it was very, very similar despite having the power of the smart contracts. We tried the Lightning Network on Bitcoin. We tried Ripple. We tried EOS. We were excited about that. It ended up being absolutely terrible. So we just tried all these various things over the years. And then about 5 years ago, we found the Cosmos SDK. And it really did answer pretty much all of our problems. It allowed us to create a game that was decentralized, is decentralized, while not having a problem with onboarding. We can create our own economy that encourages new players to come, even if they don't have any of the assets available to it. So that's kind of the idea behind Structs was born, at least the ethos of Structs, which is what kind of game can we build now that we have the technology to build something decentralized? How can we make a game that benefits from this technology? And 5 years later, we finally have something that's we think fun. We're still in beta and testnet, but the game is playable. We're certainly having a good time with it, and we're really excited to share it now.
Oh, my microphone was off. When first, I really like space game strategies. This is my favorite. I'm a little bit game addicted. My first meet with space strategies was Master of Orion. And oh my God, how many hours I was spending. And Master of Orion too. Oh, was so great game. And Imperium Galaxy, I remember, hundreds of hours was spent on this game. So now Structs, it's a even 5x game. Yes, you can explore, expand, exterminate, and also exchange. How if I'm a new player and I just want to start to play Structs, what's my first steps? Can you share the screen and show, like, go here, click here? That's we understand and have this beautiful guide for the future generation of players. Abstract, sorry, your microphone is off. You need to unmute.
There we go. Thank you. Yeah, perfect. So Structs is a game about team play, resource management, and also going out and fighting each other and fighting over these resources. We are currently still working on the tutorial, so hopefully one day you don't have to revisit these videos. But I'm so grateful that you brought me on today to talk about this and help get people going now. And then, as we see questions, then we'll understand how to tool that tutorial as well. So this is also very helpful for us, and hopefully it's helpful for you as well. I just started sharing my screen. Now, I have already gone through the player setup process, mostly because I wanted you all to enjoy that yourself. There's no reason for me to kind of go through that process. I think it's self-explanatory. If it's not, that's fine. I did post a link in the chat of what I'll be playing through today, which is the beta interface. One quick thing about Structs, there might be many interfaces. This is a decentralized game. We don't necessarily control all the interfaces as well. Everything we've built is open source, and it's a team-based game. So other guilds may run their own interface, and we'll see one of those later, which will look very similar, but ultimately be powered by a different team, and resources will be shared amongst that team differently. So now I'm going to show you our kind of the interface we've put together for beta players if they just want to play on the foundational guild, but know that everything you're seeing, you could actually run yourself as well. You could be a validator, you can run the interface, etc. But right now we want to play a space game, so let's get to that instead. So the main interface of Struct, and I've started a little bit today just to get it going, but generally you'll see all these squares when you log in are empty. And these are the different territories. We've got space, air, land, and water. And when you get started, you'll probably just get started with this little command ship over here. This is a very important ship in Structs. It's called the command ship. You generally need it to go out and attack others, and you need it local on your home to help protect it. It's a very important ship. Generally, a lot of your defenses go into making sure it survives battles. But luckily, you start with it. You got a question?
Yes, Abstract. Can we maybe create a new account to show the process of the deployment of the main ship? Because I remember that the first time when I start to play Structs, I was trying to understand, okay, do I need to put it in the water or do I need to put it on the ground? Or maybe if you able, or maybe I can share and you will tell me how to put that the people don't, that gamers don't have a, see this process since the beginning.
So thanks to your feedback, you actually start with the command ship now. You don't have to build it. You start with it. So We definitely saw that that was a lot of friction, that you needed this one ship to start doing anything. So now, as soon as you create your player, you start with a command ship. So this is basically a fresh map. We've only created a couple structs here just to show, but you will start with your command ship now. Other things on the interface, you've got the energy that you've got up here in the top left. I'm using 725 watts versus the 41,000 I have available. There's some interesting marks up here that don't mean anything to us yet. And this down here in the bottom left is our main HUD. Helps us control all of our structs. And clicking our player also brings us to the menu system. So we'll get out of that for now. Now, I mentioned Structs was primarily about resource management, and really it's about the energy life cycle. So your goal is to extract fuel from the planet that you're on, refine that fuel into alpha, and then use that fuel to power your structs so that you can kind of continue that process, or you can share your energy and have other friends kind of help fuel their stuff too. So that's how we got past the how do players play when they have nothing, by using this team method in which you can share resources. And the really nice thing about it is I can share energy without giving up my asset. So, a lot of games, it's like, oh, if I want you to play with me, I actually have to send you these assets to play with. In this case, it's, we kind of create a pool of assets and I can take that back at any time. So we've tried to create an economy that encourages sharing, encourages players to work together, and gives them really nice tools and mechanisms to do that without kind of risking their assets in a way. Now, I mentioned there's a two-stage process to getting the main asset, which is alpha in the game. At first, when you extract it, and I've got an extractor running right here already just to show you, that becomes ore. You get ore once you extract it from the planet. Now, ore can be stolen from other players. If someone comes to my planet and destroys my command ship and then breaks through the planetary shields, they can steal the ore that I have on my planet. Once I convert that through a refinery into ore, you can't steal that. It becomes any other Cosmos-based asset that's IBCable, etc. So there's this kind of like flux point where in the process, your assets are a little bit vulnerable and you want to work through kind of getting those into the main alpha asset as quickly as possible.
So, how is the process of building is going? As we understand, exists 3 or 4 kinds of locations: water, ground, skies, and space. And what's the difference and what I can build on the different areas?
Yeah, so if we want to build something, let's say we wanted to build a refinery. We already have one, but I'm going to show it anyways. Refineries can only be built, I know, on land and water. So if I click any of these land and water spaces, and this is another thing, the map is cut into two different sections. On this left area is our planet structs. These stay on the planet. On the right is our fleet structs. We can actually move these structs to another planet to attack people. So the right 2 attacking, left 2 kind of planet management. Now, if I click this box and choose the deploy button down here, it's going to bring up all the possible structs that I can deploy on this particular sector. Now, on this interface, if I hold anything, it always brings up a tooltip. So if you want to learn more about anything in particular, you can always use these tooltips to help kind of find more information. So I can see I've already deployed a reactor or an extractor. It's not going to let me do that again, but at least it explains what it's doing. But, what's this one here? Counterattacks. So this is going to help kind of defend against my planet, either when I'm there or when I'm not. So maybe this is helpful. And we can go through all these and look at it. Now, if I mentioned how these are different. So if I click on the fleet section of the map for me and choose deploy, you can see I have different structs available. So still land, we're on land, but I have different structs. Now, why this is broken up into different land gets into the kind of battle mechanisms of the game, which is a little bit like a rock, paper, scissors, or a little bit, we tried to base it off chess in that we tried to create something timeless that doesn't need, new items and crazy stuff being added all the time. It's just about trying to figure out the puzzle of how you destroy your enemies. So if I take a look again at this tank can only attack land, and I can see that based on the two land icons there. So if someone comes to my planet and they've only brought airships, I won't be able to shoot them. So instead, I might want to also build, a SAM launcher. A SAM launcher can hit space and air. So if I have this available and someone brings those ships, I now can shoot them. This also then gets into, and we'll get into this more later, the defensive relationships of things. So I actually have a defensive relationship set on my tank right now that says this tank is defending this ship, my command ship. So if someone was to attack my command ship, my tank will actually try to do two things. One, it will try and defend it by blocking the attack and taking the damage. Or two sometimes, it will also fire back if it can. So again, if this ship is defending the command ship and it's but the attacker is in the air, it might block and take the damage, but it won't be able to counter and attack the ship in the air because it doesn't have that capability. Again, if I hold and press on the attack button down here, I can see, yep, I only have the ability to attack land based on that little square that's there. So that's kind of a high-level overview of what's going on. Happy to answer questions, and we'll kind of get deeper into things as well.
So, first question, of course, is about structs. Yes, I can build different structs, and I know that I can build it on the water, on the land, but not in the sky. But also I can build it in the space. And the fleets I can deploy in all four parts. So how fast I can build the ships and how it affect my economy?
Excellent. So there's one mechanism that kind of limits the pace in which you can do things in the game. And it kind of depends on what action you're doing. We don't necessarily want there to be transaction fees in the game because that's not interesting for a game. We wanted everything to be built into the system in a way that makes sense. So we have something called the charge bar, and my bar is actually at full right now. So I'm going to go and I'm going to deploy. Let's see here. We've got the pursuit fighter, stealth bomber, and interceptor. I'm going to deploy the fighter. Now you can see my charge bar went to 0. So my full charge bar is gone. And until it's a full charge bar again, I can't deploy another ship. But you'll also notice the ship hasn't fully appeared. We're in a building kind of system now. Here on the left, our energy usage has increased because we now have a new struct that's being built. So we still have to make sure we have the energy. In this case, we've got lots. Great. But how does this struct get built now? We can see there's a progress bar. What is it progress of? Another big part of structs is that there's a number of elements of the game that are proof of work based. Literally a hashing system that you have to do. So right now, and the hashing puzzle that takes place gets easier over time. So if I have a device, if I'm playing on my phone and it's not really conducive to hashing, you can still play. You just have to kind of like maybe put your phone away, open it back up in an hour, take a look at it, and now the hashing puzzle will have gotten so easy that it's pretty much instantaneous. Where if you want to do things a little faster, maybe again, it's a team-based game, you'll pool all of your resources together as a team and help each other out, maybe leaving, your desktop to do hashing while your phone is off. So there's a lot of different team-based elements that this hashing allows for, and we just think it's kind of a fun mechanism as well. So right now what's happening here, we're trying to build this, but it's going to be way too hard. So my computer isn't even trying to hash this yet. It knows to wait for a bit. Now, if I was to look over at this other screen, now I had this particular player all ready to go. And I was very excited that I was going to show you a battle, and someone came and destroyed my fleet while I wasn't looking. That's on me for not paying attention. But we can see, okay, everything I was building has been built. That's great. Now we don't have to worry about that. So other things, I mentioned the charge bar. So things like doing an attack, that's going to take a charge. And we can see that it's going to take a charge on the top right of this tooltip. It's going to take, I have to be at 3 bars before I can do it. We recently completely redid the charge bar amounts, and now it's a much faster game and far more fun. It used to be you'd have to wait, an hour for some things. Now it's seconds, if not, 1 minute at the worst. So hopefully much faster gameplay now, much more interesting and a lot more fun. If I wanted to, sorry, go ahead. You have a question?
Yeah. I need to spend the time to build buildings, and after I need to spend some time to build fleets. What is the right strategy? So sometimes in the game, you can make some mistakes in the beginning, and it will affect your gameplay in the future. So what is the right strategy for the beginners? Which buildings need to be built at first to don't fuck up your future progress?
First and foremost, I would get your extractor going and a refinery. These are going to help you get the resource of Structs. This is the most important thing. The whole thing you want to do is earn alpha. So getting those two going, very important. But then you got to protect them. I think one of each fleet struct is going to be good. And then whichever one you happen to like. Tanks tend to be very powerful. They're very cheap, and they're very difficult to kill. Tanks have extra defenses, making them extremely annoying in battle. So, if I was setting up my fleet, I usually go 2, but maybe I'll go 3 tanks. Depending on if I know who I'm going to fight and how they're set up, then, I might kind of change that strategy. But for the most, lots of tanks. As far as protecting your planet, and again, there's your fleet that you can send off, and then there's your planet where you're extracting for resources and trying to protect, kind of like your home base. There's all sorts of defensive structs. One thing you want to ignore for now is this generator. This is a very advanced struct. You don't want to touch it. It's probably just going to waste your resources. So you can ignore this one for now. But this ore bunker and defense cannons are excellent for defending against enemies. So I would grab those. Up in space, same thing. This orbital shield generator is great. You can build a bunch of them. Do it. It's awesome. And then this jamming satellite is infuriating to play against. There's two kind of again, we go back to that rock, paper, scissors of knowing which struct is best to attack with what struct. Jamming satellite is used against smart weapons in the game. There's two kind of weapons: ballistic, which you just throw in a hand grenade basically, and a smart weapon, which is like a homing missile type thing. Jamming satellite increases the chances of defending against smart weapons significantly, and it becomes also infuriating when you're playing it. It's become a bit of a meme in the community. Signal jamming is so annoying that we can't even fix it because it's so funny. It's so funny to watch and such an infuriating thing. So I highly recommend getting this in play because if you want the people trying to fight you to curse themselves repeatedly at their desk, it's certainly going to be helpful for that. Then again, I would just pick the fleets, pick the ones that look cool, but also make sure you have a good breadth of what can fight what. Some of the structs can only fight one ambit, which are great. They're usually a lot cheaper energy, quicker to build. But sometimes you need structs that are slightly more complex and able to kind of reach a wider breadth of targets.
So, what's also about water? I can build my refinery and energy buildings as on the ground as on water, or I need to choose to build it or on the ground or on the water, and what will be the difference?
So currently, I've done it wrong. I would actually recommend putting your refineries and your extractors on water. And the reason is, and this is why I did it wrong, is force of habit. We now you can build multiple ore bunkers. And by building those two on the water, that's more room for ore bunkers up here in the land. So I've actually done this wrong personally, but it's okay. Someone will eventually come and destroy it, and then I'll move it somewhere else. Can't get too attached to your structs. Players do have a tendency to come and fight you. Right now we don't have. Right now there is a desktop client that has notifications. Right now the web-based one doesn't have notifications, so you either have to pay attention all the time or just accept. But again, everything is open source. So if you would like to add something, please feel free to create a little tool for notifications.
So when I will create my fleet and my base, there are a lot of possibilities for communication and collective game playing. Can you make short overview of the menu tab, what we can do there, and how to click the right buttons?
Of course. So let's go over to my slightly more established player for a moment. So let's see here. Do I have a command ship? Okay, good. I have a command ship. Excellent. So I can go and explore the universe right now. So I'm going to bring up the menu because we haven't really talked about the menu too much. And there's kind of a lot going on in there as well. This on the left is my planet. I can see that I've actually extracted 3 ore from it, which means I've got 3 ore vulnerable right now. Unfortunately, someone murdered my refinery, so I have to rebuild my refinery before I can keep refining ore. And refining and extracting are also both proof of work puzzles that you have to do in order to do these processes. On the right is raiding. This is what we click if we want to go and destroy others. We'll get to that in a second because that's going to be the most fun thing. Then there's our guild. So we mentioned this is a team-based game. So we are a part of a guild. Our guild is like the Cosmos Validator of our group, basically. That's part of it. We call them reactors. They're in-game objects that matter. When we infuse alpha into it, it generates energy. It generates energy for everyone and especially ourselves. So we can actually take a look at our reactor, and I've got 5 alpha. I'm currently generating 3,000 of my own energy, but I know I need a little bit more energy. So I'm just going to increase that, and that's going to infuse alpha into my guild's reactor. My guild is going to get a bit of energy that they can disperse amongst all players, be it new players, old players, etc. And then I'm going to also receive a significant portion of that. Behind the scenes, there's a much more complex energy routing system, but we've kind of tried to keep it fairly simple for players in this interface. So I'm now creating more energy. That's great. Now, if we look at our guild, this particular player is a part of Orbital Hydro. It's just one of the guilds in the system. Again, they run all this infrastructure. They're running this front end. They can customize whatever they want. They can deal with energy however they want and kind of manage that proof of work as a team as well. Just some information there. Now, we can also look at all of the members. These are all our team members. Right now, we don't have looking at all non-team members in the interface. Probably should, but here we are. And we can look at all the other guilds. So if we want to go fight other guilds, we have that technology, or we can kind of learn about these other guilds and who to go and murder. We'll get into some count details, but let's just jump into the more fun things. So I mentioned earlier that ore is vulnerable after it's been mined, before it's been refined. So if I want to go fight someone, a big thing about what I'm looking for is how much ore is available. If I fight someone and there's no ore on their planet, I'm kind of just being a jerk. Not to say you don't want to do that, very funny as well, but there's really there's no benefit to fighting someone unless they have some ore, other than for, spite purposes, trolling, etc. Valid purposes, but not necessarily what you're doing. So the main thing you want to search for when you're looking for someone to raid is how much ore they have. So I'm going to just put it to 2. The other thing here is fleet away. I mentioned that, your planetary structs stay, but if you send your fleet away to go fight someone, then there's less defenses on your planet. So fleet away, if I'm looking for or if I want to really kill someone while they're not paying attention, I might look for them so that their fleet isn't there. That way it's easier for me to destroy everything. I'm going to leave fleet there just because it'll be more fun and interesting to watch. And then this just shows us, who do we have to murder right now? So let's try choosing a worker.
This is the amount of the available ore that I can capture if my attack will be successful.
Exactly. So
and is on station, it means that all fleets are on station.
Yeah. So we can see there's their fleet. They're there, unfortunately. They also have, these people have a lot of defenses set up. This might be hard, but we can do it anyways. Or we can go back and find a different one. Let's view this worker. What's going on in here? Okay, this looks way easier to deal with. Beautiful. Great. Let's launch this fleet. So we choose launch fleet. We can always look back at our planet. There we go. Let's dismiss that. So I'm going to look back at our old planet. Notice my fleet is gone. My command ship is gone. So now my 3 ore is kind of vulnerable right now, but hopefully everyone leaves it alone. My options here, retreat. I can leave this planet, go back to my home planet. Maybe someone comes to my home and I don't want to lose that. You'll notice it's mentioning my home planet is vulnerable now. If someone comes, I'm not there, it's going to be a problem, but that's fine. We're gonna fight through this. And here we have the battle. In this case, my ships are here on the left. Their ships on the right. And our goal Oh, I didn't see these. I didn't see these. That's more annoying. Okay, well, let's see how this goes. So what we have to do is kill their command ship. We have to kill their command ship first, which will drop their shields, and then it's a quick proof of work puzzle that we have to do before they can rebuild their command ship. So luckily, although they're protecting a lot of things, they're not protecting their command ship. Great. So lesson learned, should protect your command ship. Now, if I was to shoot this command ship with one of my tanks, it will counterattack. There's pretty much almost always, with very few exceptions, a counterattack when you attack something. So it is a little bit expensive to attack things, especially if you do it wrong. But I'm going to use my bomber because my bomber can hit the ground. And this guy right now can't attack the sky because he's not in the sky. So I'm going to use the bomber and just shoot an attack. Now I had enough battery to perform this attack. There goes my attack. Damage. Great. No counter because I wasn't able to, because he wasn't able to attack me. Now I'll show you the opposite of that. I'm going to use this next because he's nice and cheap, bit of fodder. First, we're waiting for a battery to get to the point where we can actually use it. Select the attack, select the enemy. Now, this one's going to go a little bit worse for us. And it goes without saying, all of this is happening on the chain. All of our logic is on the chain. Everything here is on chain.
Our opponent, for him, kind of playing now AI. Or if opponent will be online, it can protect base by on its own.
Yeah, so no matter what, because of the defensive relationships you can set, even if you're not there, your planet does try to defend itself when you perform attacks. It just won't actively attack back in addition to those counterattacks. So you can see, like, this player I don't think is online, but because I didn't properly attack with something that was out of range of this command ship, it was still able to kill me. So even if the player isn't there, there's still a puzzle you have to solve to win, which we thought was, very important to, one, keeping it fun for the attacker, and also keeping it fair for the people who don't necessarily recognize that they're being attacked. But if this player was online, then they could be attacking me back as well. I'm going to now, let's use cooler ship. What do we got here? Oh, I don't have that one. Okay, what do we got? Okay, let's see. Where can my tank? Nope, my submarines can't hit. There we go. Okay. My cruiser can hit. So we're going to use the cruiser. And you'll notice when I select the weapon, if I can't hit it, it's grayed out. So if you want to just see, like, where can this hit, you can select the weapon and see, okay, this can't hit anything right now. So that's not helpful. But this weapon can hit ground. Great. That's what we want.
So every fleet have one or two types of attacks, and different attacks can affect different damage on the different areas.
Exactly. Yeah. So now I've killed their command ship, and you can see instantly their planetary shield has now switched from green to safe to red. So now we're attacking their planetary shield. Now that shield is a proof of work process again. I am trying to hash my way into stealing their ore. Now I know that these orbital shields are protecting this. And this is where it's going to start to get messy, because I have a feeling these starfighters are protecting these orbital shields. So if I can destroy these orbital shields, it's going to be a faster process, Because right now, 10 minutes, they can probably build their command ship back in 10 minutes if they were paying attention. So I'm going to try and keep fighting here to see if I can take out these orbital shields. Oh, it didn't. Something's protecting it, but maybe they might have their tanks protecting it, which is fine for us because the tank can't hit my starfighter.
I understand every action consumes your battery, and you have like 5 points of battery, and every action use 3 of them.
Different actions use different amounts. So a lot of weapons are in between 2, 3, and 4, depending on how powerful the weapon is. Building a new struct requires all 5. And then setting defensive relationship requires 1. Now, good news. They didn't set up these defenses very well. There's a lesson to you. Make sure if you're going to set up defenses, you do it in a collective way. And you can have multiple structs defending one thing, which is important as well. But we're just going to kill this. And then now, thankfully, that shield is going to drop, which we just saw it drop about 2 minutes. So we're going to keep shooting and hope that they continue to do a bad job of their defenses. And our command ship can fire too. Command ships have more health, and they're the only struct that can move ambits. So it's very common if you see that they don't have any ability to fire at air, then it makes a lot of sense to move your command ship into the air. Then they can't hit it. So we'll wait for, there we go. Chose the move action, move this down to air.
Oh, the turns of players happens kind of in parallel, depends on their energy. Or it's like my turn after your turn, after my turn after your turn.
We did it. We used the charge bar instead of having turns because if the player wasn't there, it basically freezes the game. It encouraged players to not be there. That would be better for them if it was turn-based. But we wanted the pace of a turn-based game because we felt it kind of made sense, especially in a global game with this decentralized backend. It made sense to kind of be paced like a board game. So it's similar pacing to that. The difference being that if the player never shows up, it doesn't prevent you from also attacking and continuing. And, just for the sake of it, while these are going on, if we look back here, just a regular Cosmos Explorer, we can see that these are our transactions on chain. So it is all happening on chain, as you would expect. We've almost got this second shield down, and then hopefully we'll be able to kill it faster. You can almost taste this ore.
Oh, and our opponent, I see now it have a full battery. So how will act our opponent if AI play for the opponent? Is there any strategy, any algorithm, or it choose to destroy as much fleets as it possible, or it have some AI who make a decision?
We've got a couple different models that we've seen show up so far. There's some people that just programmatically write, this is how to always do it. So they've created some sort of AI, but it's very, very strict in its process. I know some people are also playing agentically with, Opus or Claude, connecting and kind of defining strategy as it goes and creating things to monitor and such. The chain itself doesn't have any AI built into it, but the game economy is designed in a way that, again, just like you share resources with each other, you can share resources amongst agents, and you can actually play with agents and kind of tag team them. So you can play normally and also have your agent working and having their own accounts and play as a team, basically, which has been honestly quite fun. So we can see our planetary shield is now down to 0. But we're still trying to find this hashing puzzle. Like, we're still doing it right now. So although we should be able to find it, just like, Bitcoin mining, we don't necessarily know when we'll find that hash, but it's certainly trying right now. Apparently my laptop isn't necessarily super good at this. So I'll just keep blowing away their defenses and hope that I do it faster.
So this is big difference to play on the powerful machine or to play on your mobile phone.
We've tried to make sure that it's not too big of a difference, that not having a machine makes it unfun, not having a powerful machine. But also we're still rolling out the team features where, as a team, you can kind of hash with each other. So that would make, mining on any device, it doesn't really matter because you have the whole power of the team working with you. So although right now, just because these features are still being rolled out, it's not quite there. We really don't expect it to be problematic for any device to play the game, which was really important to us because, not everyone has a super modern phone. Not everyone has the ability to, crush their battery when they're out and about with hashing processes. So although we think the hashing mechanism is important, it's not necessarily something you need to do on every client.
When you perform an action, it starts to be executing. And the action, what's the average time of the executing of every action, and what is the average time of you get full energy from zero?
Every action is about 5 to 6 seconds right now. Or that's not, sorry. Every block is about 5 to 6 seconds. There's some things you can do in the same block and batch them together, unless it has to do with the charge bar. So usually it's, one action every 20 seconds-ish, depending on what you're trying to do. But, you can send out lots of other unrelated transactions as well. Oh, I did beat it. Oh, okay. Apparently. Well, we did destroy it. We got our ore. There was just a problem with the banner. I assume there would be at least one broken thing. That's fine. So we've earned our ore. We beat it. We have a screen that should have displayed and told me some stats about it, but here we are. Always be releasing. But we have earned this ore. We've stolen this thing that's hard to come by, and now we're working to refine it. We can see our refinery is currently working, about 16 hours left on this particular ore. But again, if I wanted to elicit the help of my friends, maybe we could, bring that down and make far more ore together. Now in that battle, I lost my tank. So, now it's post-battle kind of base management. I have to rebuild things. I have to set up my defenses again. And now that I've got more ore, I probably need to care about, building more of these ore bunkers and orbital satellites as well.
So what is the process of calling my friends to help me, or how I can go and help to some of my guildmates?
Yeah, right now, no, the communication system isn't built in, so coordinate on whatever makes sense. If, it's an NFT community playing together as a guild and they already have a Discord, we didn't want to necessarily replace that. It doesn't make sense because this community already has a place to chat. So we've kind of intentionally left that up to the guild as far as how they want to manage it and how they want to kind of play together. But you can still go and, find your friend and murder them, which is always fun nonetheless. Or go and find others. The other thing that we don't show here again isn't in this interface, but there's a kind of an iceberg of features available in the game as far as energy management. So if you have a surplus of energy and you want to offer that for other guilds to sell, then there's a system in place for offering energy and earning IVC assets potentially based on that energy available. And then there is also other kind of guild tools such as an internal token system. If you want to reward your players, you don't want to reward them in alpha because that doesn't make sense, but each guild can actually make their own token that's backed by alpha, give that token out, issue that token as they see fit. And, the health of a guild can kind of be assessed based on the ratio of token issuance to alpha.
Can you share some main strategies? As I understand, you already have near 1 year of the gaming, and here is a lot of players. Maybe it exists some meta of the strategies or some most useful strategies that you can share and tell. If you will do this and this is as usually most common or most general strategy to develop your base and army.
Yeah, so for me, and keep in mind, I'm actually not good at this game. There are many players who consistently humble me and my strategies. So take my ideas with a grain of salt. But maybe we'll get a better player on here next time to help get the real information. I like to make sure that I have at least one of each. At least one of each fleet struct, and then I usually like to double up on the cheaper ones. I find them very effective. They shoot faster, but they only cover the ambit that they're in. So the cheaper ones are this Starfighter, this Pursuit Fighter, again, our good old tank, and in water, it's the submarine. Submarine's a little different, but it's still a valuable ship. Not to say the other ones aren't valuable. They're all critically important as well. But as far as choosing having one of each and then choosing that fourth one to be something, I generally choose the cheapest one. It just makes sense from what I've played. But again, I don't always win. So maybe this is a horrible strategy. I don't quite know yet. Then I make sure that all of my ships are protecting my command ship most of the time. This isn't necessarily always the best strategy because it kind of depends on what's going on your planet. Sometimes it might make sense to be defending, your orbital shields or your ore bunkers instead. But especially if I'm going out to attack things, and then also, maybe it makes sense that your stealth fighter is, protecting this guy. I personally just find it easier just to have everything defend my command ship, then I don't have to think about it. But I've been told this is a horrible strategy. No one has told me a better strategy yet, but apparently this is a horrible strategy. So that's my general process is I go through and set up all these defensive relationships. Now, I will point out, setting these defensive relationships can kind of be a lot of effort sometimes. And this is where agentic play can come in handy, because you just tell it, hey, can you set up my defenses to do X, Y, Z? And it goes behind the scenes and does this instead of me sitting here and tapping it. Now, sometimes I'm just, relaxing by the TV, and I don't mind idly tapping things and doing base management. Other times I need it a lot faster, and that's where kind of having some extra tools can help sometimes. Again, this is all just Cosmos, right? So anything that can create transactions is going to be able to operate this game. Similarly, if you need data from it, there's open APIs that are hosted, or you can host these things yourself if you're so technically inclined. So the entire kind of data loop is there and available, be it, issuing transactions yourself. We think this interface is a lot of fun and looks great. You might want to do things in a command line, and that's certainly all possible. Back to strategies wise, generally, again, it's important to have your extractor going. Now, at a certain point, you'll notice here, I only have one ore remaining. And that means this planet only has one ore remaining. At a certain point, I will mine all of the ore that's available on this planet. And this is when you have to make a decision. Do you abandon this planet, get a new planet so you can start extracting ore, and then you have to go through and build all your planetary structs again, because it's a fresh planet. Your fleet will come with you, but all of your planetary structs will stay on the old planet. So do you stay? Do you like your defenses all set up as they are? And you don't mind that there's no more ore to extract because you're going and taking ore from others? It might be totally fine that you don't have any ore to extract, because you're just going to go steal it from others anyways. And that stealing it from others is a much faster process than extracting 5 ore over the course of 5 days. So there's pros and cons to what you want to do. Do you want to stay on your established planet that you like, or do you want to let that planet go? Now, this is also just set up right now for our testnet. In the future, planets will have a variable amount of ore, so maybe it makes sense to go find a nice big planet. Planets will also potentially have a variable number of places that you can build on. So, maybe the planet you have is a really good one and it's got, 32 spots and you want to keep it. Or you've got, kind of a crummy planet, but it makes it annoying for people to come and attack you. So we'll see kind of how that plays out. But right now we're just standing with kind of every planet is the exact same. So they're a little bit disposable at the moment. And you might want to just keep chasing ore.
Do you have any maps of the planets, or how can I understand how I can migrate to another planet if no more ore on this planet? And as I understand, for now, every planet have the same amount of ore, but in the near future, it will be different planets that will contain different amount of ore.
Yeah, and will look different as well. We're working on uniquely looking planets to make it fun too. When you're out of ore, this turns to 0, and you'll have another button here to explore a new planet. So right now we can't do it, so it's not there. But once we're out of this ore, then we can go explore another planet. Let me see. I might actually have. Yeah, perfect. Okay. Let me change my screen to be this one. Just switch to, hopefully that's showing. Doesn't look like it's showing. You see that? No? Let's try again. There we go. Worked that time. And I'm gonna change the size of it a little bit. hopefully this, I should have asked this way earlier, but hopefully this has been fairly easy to view for everyone. So you can see right here, I've got depart. So it's warning me all my alpha is extracted. Now let's just take a quick look at my planet here. I have just this extractor who's not extracting anything and this PDC. PDCs are great. They take a long time to build, but let's go. So depart, it's going to confirm. Do I want to depart? Yep. Now we wait. Perfect. Let's get on my new planet. Now you can see everything's dead, and I got to start again. But my fleet came with me, and so did my ore. So I don't have to refine my ore on that planet. It comes with me and follows me to my new destination. So let's take a little look-see at what we can build on land. I want to build a refinery because I've got 7, and that's important to start refining that ore into alpha. Otherwise, someone's going to come take it. So the first thing, I'm just going to get started right now on building this refinery. And now this is where over, the course of my morning, I'll idly build up my fleet structs and my planetary structs again and be ready to defend myself. Now, I mentioned playing agentically. If that's something you want to do, I'm using the desktop app right now of Structs. It is sketchy, but it's pretty awesome. One, the mining engine in it is far more powerful. The GPU proof of work system, far more powerful in the desktop app. Highly recommend it. It's very fun. But the other thing, it has this debug tab. If we go down, we can see it has an MCP server built into it. So if you want to start directing, Claude or Cursor or whatever to be playing, you can just grab this information and tell it, hey, let's take over the world together. So if that's something that interests you, I highly recommend it. Very fun. So you can see that's still building. Now we've got, and we want to start extracting. So I'm building an extractor. The main strategy, always keep that energy production life cycle going. Always be making alpha. Alpha is the core asset in the system. It's very important. It's intentionally a very difficult asset. I mentioned this as Cosmos. So you know that there's validators behind the scenes. And it's very common for validators to create the exact same asset that is used to delegate. That's not how Structs works. The only way you can get alpha in this game is through gameplay, is through what we've showed you today. Validators don't create alpha, they generate energy. Energy is used to produce things, but it's also temporal. So, I've got 5,000 energy available to me, but if I'm not using it in that block, it's just gone. It's not something that accumulates over time. So validators in the system are able to create energy that can be shared amongst players. And if it's not used, then it's just wasted. But they don't create alpha. If you want alpha in this game, you have to extract ore from a planet or go and steal it from someone and then refine it into alpha. That's the only way you can get alpha. So it's intentionally a very, very difficult asset to acquire. You have to play the game.
So it's
and that's, I think, what a lot of... Sorry,
this is kind of liquid staking behind the scene.
A little bit, yeah. We intentionally wanted the chain to operate as the game. It's not a separate thing. It's not, oh, there's a Structs chain and then there's a Structs game. It is all one with Structs. The chain, the infrastructure, the teams running it, all of this comes together as one cohesive Structs game. The operation of the game is part of the game because we wanted to make sure that as long as people were playing the game continued. Another core ethos of what we were building is everyone has those games that they love growing up. And then, the publisher says, well, this doesn't make us money, we're turning it off. And there's nothing you can do about it. So we wanted to build something where as long as the community was playing the game itself was operational. And that's what Structs is.
The next question about some abilities, because we understand already that damage and counterattacks may be on the land and can be different, but also some smart attacks. And we see that exists ability, for example, stealth, yes, or jamming signal. Can you guide us about these skills and tell us in easy words how they work and how they interact with each other?
Sure. So starting with those stealth, two structs have stealth. It looks like this symbol here. Stealth mode means that only structs in that same territory can attack it. Now it'll instantly jump out of stealth if it tries to shoot someone. But if I want to kind of protect this bomber, I can throw it into stealth mode. And now, a submarine trying to attack it from the water can't actually hit it. So this is a way of helping to protect your structs while they're, maybe not in use, and you want to protect them a little bit more. Now the enemy can still see that it's there. The human or the bot, we know that struct is there. It's not hiding it on chain because it's a big transparent chain. So this is just about changing the game mechanics as far as what can attack this. So it's a handy little feature, but it's not actually making it Monero struct that we don't get to know the source of. So definitely an important thing there. And we can see our submarines also have this, so we can enable it. And it's, it doesn't hurt to have it enabled. It doesn't prevent you from doing anything. It'll just disable if you ever go to use this. It's one of our more fun little animations. Now I mentioned the two ballistic systems, or the two types of attacks, smart weapons and ballistic. So some structs are better at dodging different types of attacks. So getting to know when it's good to use a ballistic weapon versus when it's good to use a smart weapon, depending on your target, is going to help your own structs not get counterattacked or not have their attack miss. So understanding that I don't have it here. Let's see. Oh, we're in stealth mode, and we have a regular counter. You know what? Let's go fight things. It's way more fun that way. Search. This one looks good. Let's go fight this. This is JPEG. JPEG is one of the best players in the game. So I'm kind of poking the bear at this point. Hopefully he's not paying attention. That's my fingers crossed. He's usually paying attention is the problem. Oh man. Okay. So he's set up everything really well, which is a problem for me, but that's fine. Keep in mind, I also have this. I can also look at their stuff as well. So this is an important one, kinetic shield. So kinetic shield is not going to, you don't need to turn it on. It's just built into this particular struct, but it has a 1 in 3 chance of deflecting incoming ballistic weapon attacks. So I have to choose. I have some structs that can hit, if I look at this guy, it is a smart weapon. So this, using a fighter on this interceptor will be effective because it's a smart weapon against this kinetic shield. But if I was to use, oh, that's not the right one. That's not the right one. There we go. If I was to use this AR cannon against it, it's probably it's got a very good chance of blocking it. And let's find out. I really hope he's not paying attention. It's good. And he blocked it. So I did no damage, and that's annoying. Now, on the positive note, he didn't counterattack me, thankfully, because he doesn't counter water, and he has nothing set up defensively to protect it. But I've just wasted my charge bar on that, and now I have to wait for another one. But, let's try and use our Pursuit Fighter, and hopefully this time we'll do damage because it won't, that shield won't be effective against my fighter because I'm using the right weapon against it. Oh, that's a bug. Great. So, a little bit of visual bug though, we'll ignore that. But one thing you'll notice, so I was able to attack it because I have this smart weapon and it doesn't block smart weapons, but because I'm in the same ambit, it was able to counter my struct and cause damage to it. So using that struct was a good idea in that my attack worked, but it was a bad idea in that I got attacked. And that's just automatic. That's not this player is online and doing this. That's just me choosing a bad combination of structs.
You can see that on the defense sides, all the Structs fleets have shields and counter shields. So all of them are or protected by somebody or protect somebody. But you not. Is it right? Or when you come to the attack, can you come already with active defense scheme or not? And which main points we need to know about who needs to defend whom?
Yeah, I especially shouldn't be fighting JPEG without all of my defenses set up. So this is a mistake on my part. Defending, I like to just do, and I can do this before I get here, or I can do it after I get here. You can always change it as well. Sometimes depending on, what you see the player going after, you might want to quickly change your defenses. That way, you defend that current target of theirs. So it's a little situational sometimes as far as who you should be defending. I like to start my defenses, everything on the command ship, just because how they would kill me if I'm raiding them, they would send me home by killing my command ship. Once they kill my command ship, I get sent back to my planet and I have to build my command ship back up. So by protecting my command ship, I'm at least keeping myself in the battle a little bit longer. So protecting your command ship is important. I would do this before starting this raid because usually if they are paying attention, it's going to be a problem very quickly if you don't have it defended. But I haven't done that because I didn't do it and I forgot. But, you'll notice they've got a lot of different defenses set up. Oh, this is a bug. They're defending all sorts of stuff. They're defending their command ship. They're defending their planetary structs. Their planetary structs are a little bit of a display bug right now. That's fine. The app doesn't work as good as the website, but it's faster. So yeah, let's see if I can trigger something that makes them attack me a bunch. And we'll see if this plays out. Because you can have multiple things protecting. So it could be you go to attack something and it has 3 different defenders that all attack you back and you end up dead after one attack because, 10 different things. Oh, we can see I got 2 damage on this attack because it did have a defender that also countered attack me. So defensive relationships are very important. And it's kind of how you, one, protect when you're not there. But even if you are there and playing, having your defensive, relationships set up kind of helps destroy their attackers. It makes them not want to attack certain things because it will mean they're going to lose a struct. And as you saw, if I lose a struct, one, I have to wait for my charge bar to fill up so I can build a new struct. Two, I have to wait for that mining process to finish. So chipping away at things can be important, and trying to prevent the loss of your structs is intentionally difficult in the game. That's pretty much the puzzle, is how do you get through their defenses without losing all your structs at the same time?
So I can build a new structs in the process of attack, yes, but it will consume my energy, or not?
No, you can only build your structs at home. So the defender here can build their structs, but I can't build structs as a person attacking them. Now, I can quickly go back home, start a build, and then come back, but it's probably not worth my time. But sometimes these battles take a couple rounds. Like, you might lose the battle but win the war if I chip away at his defenses, try my best, go back home, lick my wounds, and try and get back before he's the ability to rebuild everything. I might be able to tailor what I'm building now based on what's left of his defenses. So if I know that he has these big space things, I want to come in. Has I'm going to keep attacking these things. Oh, good, we killed something.
So can we, for example, attack one planet with the different players to achieve faster result?
No, you can only be attacking one player per planet, at least in the interface. We're kind of exploring team-based options, but it's.
But maybe in case first player attack, destroy part of the fleets, run away, and directly after him, second player come and finish the base.
Exactly. Yeah, totally.
Really very interesting, and so many possibilities for different strategies. And I know that you have some even tournaments. Maybe you can guide us through the web page and show to our community where they can find all the important information on the web page, where they can join some tournaments, guilds.
Yeah, absolutely. So the codex, so we don't have the help built into the interface yet, but there's this kind of side interface, playstructs.com/codex, which is where we keep kind of all the information in a nice, easy to digest way. There is a lot of information about structs, obviously, but we've tried to make it as visual of a game when you're actually playing it, That way it's, especially if English isn't your second language, then the interface itself becomes easy to digest without thinking about it too much. But in here goes through all of the different symbols, different economy details, how this battery works, what you have to do in order to wait, different times. So we've tried to add all the information, including combat information, the different weapon types that I've been discussing, how counterattacks work and the logic behind that, defensive, all those details about the defensive of, when will something block, when will it counter, what do these, indicators actually refer to. So basically every single icon you see on the screen, you can find here somewhere. And then we also have, just some information about Structs itself from a lore perspective. We do want the game to be a good game, an interesting game, with fun story as well. And part of a decentralized game is that story is, written by the players that take place. But we do have some kind of foundational information about what happens in the Structs universe as well. So if you like a good lore, certainly all there too.
This is interesting. If you like a good lore, you can be one of the creators of this lore too.
Yeah, of course. We've written the history, but you get to write the next history.
Yeah. So if we will visit just playstructs.com webpage, you have here some news also about challenges, about the last updates. What we can find here, and can you maybe show us Discord and tell friends, here is, you can ask about it, here is, you can join to the guild. Or maybe
so we do have a new tournament coming up that we're planning. So if you want to get on that tournament, should be, our previous one was a lot of fun. It was a lot of years ago. But now the previous tournament was built on this playtest game, which I know you spent some time playing as well. It was this just local JavaScript game, which we used to kind of fine tune the battle mechanics back many years ago. As we can see, we've kind of come a long way in what that looks like, but it is still there. It is still kind of fun if you're into that. But the next tournament will be based on the full blockchain game that we've got there. So if you want to come join Discord, certainly it's not a super complex Discord, so I'm sure you'll find us. We also have documentation. Usually mostly documentation is for the developers and for people who want to, either track our progress, learn about some specifics. This old game design stuff, though, I think the codex formulates it much nicer than here in this documentation, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. But then if you want to get to all of the open source aspects of it, I highly recommend, heading over to our repository. Structs is a lot of code. So if you're interested in that, there's many different ways to contribute, or to just, even if you don't want to contribute to the open source project, you just want to make, Structs your own interface and all sorts of weird little things. All that information is definitely there. And then again, if you want to play with AI, Structs.ai, I would just point whatever agent you like using to one of these files, and it's going to start being pretty successful pretty fast.
Yes, this is amazing. I think that the future, when the human players will play together with AI agents, and AI agents will be the same equal players as human players. This is very interesting.
Yeah, it's neat to have a teammate. One, be on teammates with your friends, but then have your own squad that you can use. So it's been an interesting kind of we didn't make Structs for agentic play. That wasn't the original intention. But we did always make sure that Structs was going to be fun for bots and for humans. And that's part of why there's a proof of work system, because without that, bots could kind of do things without dealing with their humans. It's actually kind of interesting to think that, local LLMs that require the GPU kind of have to share the GPU if they want to play the game to do hashing as well. So it's kind of like a forced resource management of the bots themselves. So that was an important thing, and making sure that humans and bots can both have a fun experience. Because if we didn't design it that way, bots were going to come in and just ruin the game, right? Like if you don't write a game to deal with bots, then you're just always kind of like trying to bat them away, and you're never going to win that battle. So it was better to make a game that new bots would be involved, and to make sure that humans just have the same tools and the same kind of ways to make sure that it's still fun for them, rather than just being annoyed with this process. So because of that, we've accidentally made a good game that's really fun to play against bots. Like there's every game has NPCs and different bosses and stuff like that. But because we don't have that on chain, you need players to basically be the boss and build bosses and stuff like that. So that's kind of where the agentic play comes into place, is you're making bots for other people to go and play against, making sure that there's kind of always something to do in the game, which is a huge win, in my opinion.
Amazing. So maybe you want to share some insights what we need to expect in the nearest updates, what you plan to update in the next version, and what players can expect from the future development.
Right now we're on bug fixing. So most of our core features are there in the interface. As I mentioned, there is like an iceberg of features that are more advanced that won't necessarily bubble up into the interface right away, but they're certainly accessible for those that want it. Right now, we're just fixing bugs and tweaking gameplay to make sure that it's fun, it's stable, and then launching a network that's something beyond a test network, and getting into that wonderful IBC connections and everything like that. So I think over the summer, if we can kind of finish tweaking and get ready for a launch, in that process, while kind of getting there, I would love to see more guilds get built up, more community guilds get built up. We won't be doing an airdrop. Instead, if you're playing the game, unless there's something major that takes place and messes with state, where you are in the testnet is going to be where you start when the game kind of goes more live and whatever its next network is. So in a way, it's already not a testnet, but here we are. It's just called that. After that, though, there will be what we call a guild drop. So, I mentioned that guilds have their own tokens backed by alpha. Good established guilds will make sure that they can start with a token backed by a significant amount of alpha. That way they have, kind of an interesting token to offer their people, but they get to manage the token and they get to manage what that is. So, their guild, they can decide, whether or not issuance is all, one person, or they can be rewarding people playing for their guild right now, or doing hashing, or going out and attacking certain enemies, or just doing basic things, or doing things outside of the Structs universe. It doesn't really matter to us. Again, that's the guild's token. It's not what we care about. We're just going to help back it with alpha, and guild tokens can be always traded, or I guess burned for the underlying alpha behind the scenes. So that's kind of on them to choose and to figure out as we get closer to that next, I don't want to call it a mainnet launch, but whatever the next network launch is that's slightly more stable than our testnet.
Oh, sounds really great. Maybe I didn't ask you something that you want to highlight, and if no, then it will be the good timing for the video guide.
I don't know. You asked me a lot. I feel like we've covered so much already. Probably too much, if anything. So I'm always around to answer questions, especially if you join that Discord or find me in the Cosmos ecosystem. I'm always around. I'm Abstrct. Follow us on Twitter or whatever social media that you happen to be on. We try and be everywhere, but we're certainly not marketers by any means, but we do need eventually players to play the game. So come play it. If you want to mess around, if you have any problems, we're here to help. If you want to go deeper and run your own guild, happy to help, walk you through that process and be there to be the tech support necessary on some of the more complex advanced things of Structs. But if you want to just play Structs, I think it's quite a fun game. Follow us on various socials to find out about that upcoming tournament, or just join us on Discord and you'll certainly read about it there.
We will add all the links in the description of this video, and of course we will publish it. Abstrct, thank you very much for this beautiful presentation. I hope it will help to attract more players, and we will see each other on the battlefield. We will try to steal your ore.
I look forward to it. You'll probably get it. Thank you so much for having me. This has been wonderful. I'm glad we finally pulled it off.
Thank you, friends. Thank you, Abstrct. See you soon. This video will be published very soon. Bye-bye. It was Cosmos Voice number 19. See you soon.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone.